What is going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel, and today, holy shit boys, we got some news that I don't think anyone was expecting to hear anytime soon. For those who aren't aware of what I'm talking about, EA have officially announced a complete restructuring of the Battlefield team beginning right now and moving into the future, including some huge new recruitments and positions within the team, an entirely new studio being created to work on the game, and the continued involvement of Ripple Effect, the team behind Battlefield Portal, who are already working on something new for Battlefield 2042 in the future. Before we get into it, if you guys are new to the channel and you end up enjoying the video, then do consider subscribing and turning on those notifications so that you don't miss out on any upcoming Battlefield content. But with that being said, let's get stuck right into it. So, like I said, just a matter of hours after update number 3 for 2042 went live, we were then hit with a pretty massive info bomb from EA about a complete restructuring of the Battlefield team, and a lot of these changes are absolutely insane. Battlefield will essentially be getting a Battlefield universe moving forward, meaning there are going to be a heap of different games and modes that sort of interconnect with each other in a similar way to how Irish has made his way from Battlefield 4 into 2042. And so we may get some games in the future that have characters we know and love, and they're essentially just going to be connecting the lore around these games a lot more and having plenty of crossovers. Now, I would say the biggest news out of this whole announcement is the appointment of Vince Zampella. For those who don't know who Vince Zampella is, this man is a titan in the gaming industry. I generally don't like to give too much credit to an individual when it takes entire teams to make games, but I'm not joking when I say everything this guy touches turns to gold. Vince Zampella was one of the co-founders of Infinity Ward way back in the day and worked closely with the team to help create the original Modern Warfare series, and then when he left, Infinity Ward essentially collapsed a few years later without his leadership. He had a huge part in Jedi Fallen Order, which is arguably one of the greatest Star Wars games ever made, and was received incredibly well by the fanbase despite most people actually being really skeptical leading into the game. And as a hardcore Star Wars fan myself, I can tell you firsthand that if Star Wars fans actually enjoy something, that means it is very good, because Star Wars fans are probably the hardest fans in the world to please. He's most recently known for his work with Apex Legends, taking that game from a free-to-play game with no marketing that literally launched by surprise with no trailer, to probably the most played battle royale at the moment that has grossed over $2 billion and is enjoyed by over 100 million players. Now, whether you like or dislike any of those games, obviously that's just personal preference, but what you can't deny is that wherever Vince goes, he seems to bring success with him, and not just success in terms of money for the company, success in terms of people really enjoying the stuff that he works on. And personally, I'm not too sure I would have picked anyone else on this planet to be picked for this position. Now, the position that he's been placed in is that he is now officially the head of Battlefield. He is the guy now in charge of the franchise moving forward, and personally, I could not be happier about this. The franchise is obviously in need of a bit of a shake-up, with the last few games being very divisive, and so yeah, having Vince in charge of the franchise is honestly super exciting. Now, on top of that, as if that wasn't already huge, Marcus Lado, who is the co-creator of the Halo universe, essentially the guy who designed Master Chief and a lot of the stuff in the Halo universe, he is now heading his own studio in Seattle that will be working on Battlefield moving forward, starting as early as Battlefield 2042. This studio, of which we don't know the name yet, they'll be focusing more on the story side of things, injecting some more narrative into the game, as well as no doubt being a huge part of future campaigns and all that sort of thing. And so yeah, the guy who designed one of the greatest shooter franchises of all time is now leading the story team of the Battlefield franchise moving forward. Some of these narrative elements will be coming to 2042 as well in future seasons, so I'm not too sure what that means. Maybe we are actually going to get a campaign in the future, or like war stories in the same way that Battlefield 1 and Battlefield 5 had, or maybe they're going to be working on the narrative around the specialists to maybe make it a little bit less cringy with the voice lines and just the disconnect between the setting and the characters. Who knows what they're working on there, but it is going to be exciting to see nonetheless. For me, all of this news is genuinely so exciting. We have Vince Zampella, one of the titans of the gaming industry. We have the co-creator of Halo, and we have Byron Beed, who has worked on Call of Duty and Destiny in the past with their live services. All of these people are coming to the Battlefield franchise to help with their input and help shape the future of the franchise. And while yes, it might actually be kind of scary to see how this changes the franchise, I think all of these people know what they're doing more than enough to get this right. Every single one of them has a great track record, and once they're all working in tandem, bouncing ideas off each other and all that kind of thing, I do honestly think this will be absolutely huge for the franchise. Now, it could of course go sour as well. I'm not going to pretend like this is a guaranteed thing that it's going to go perfect, because at the end of the day, many things could go wrong here, but personally, I am yet to see Vince Zampella fail at anything that he's worked on. Marcus Lado has created one of my all-time favorite shooter franchises in Halo, which is also killing it right now with Infinite as well, so it's not like he's only done it in the past. It's arguably the best shooter in the industry industry right now. And yeah, until these guys fail, I'm not going to be expecting them to fail, if that makes sense. I have a lot of trust that they'll propel the franchise in the right direction. After all the criticism surrounding 2042, it seems pretty clear to me that there's a pretty large disconnect between DICE and their player base. I'm genuinely loving 2042 myself, but I won't deny that there are many questionable decisions surrounding this game. There are plenty of things wrong with it, and so to me, the complete restructure and shake-up of the team is exactly what they needed. This franchise seems to have somewhat lost its identity a little bit in recent years. Battlefield 1 was fantastic, but it did deviate from the regular Battlefield experience. Battlefield 5 was, well, it was Battlefield 5, what more do I need to say about that? And Battlefield 2042, despite being a heap of fun under those core issues, it is still a very different game from previous titles in a lot of areas, and a lot of people really don't like it. Because of the way that these last few games have gone, I do think the franchise needs some new ideas, it needs some new people in charge, it needs some fresh faces and fresh concepts, while also still holding on to the likes of Lars Gustafsson, Daniel Berlin, Christian Grass, the guys who have been around Battlefield for years and years, to help guide all of those new ideas and new people to what makes Battlefield Battlefield. Having that mix of old faces who know the game more than anyone, as well as new guys like Vince and Marcus who have decades of their own experience in making fan favorite games, I think that is the perfect mix to inject some life and energy into the franchise while not just making it some entirely different franchise overall. If it can keep the Battlefield feeling while still adapting and evolving, that is a win-win for everyone in my opinion, and I'm definitely super excited to see how this all goes. It's fair to say that Battlefield as a franchise has changed forever, and this might be the most pivotal moment in the history of the franchise. We're getting a Battlefield universe, we're getting a new dev studio created for the sole purpose of helping this franchise and this franchise only. We're getting some huge names like Vince Zampella on board with the game, and honestly, I think this is some of the best news that I could have hoped for around Battlefield. On paper, this is all insanely positive for the franchise, and all it comes down to now is how well or how poorly they execute it. It's going to be very interesting to see over the next, say, 3 to 5 years, and I'm definitely keen to hear everyone's thoughts on this down in the comments, so be sure to let us all know what you're thinking. That is going to do it for this one though, guys. If you enjoyed the video, then be sure to leave a like down below, and if you are new, then consider subscribing to the channel with those notifications on. If you guys want to support the content that I make here on YouTube, then consider becoming a channel member, but with that being said, thank you all very much for watching. You guys have a great day, and I'll see you all out there on the battlefield.